Welcome to my channel. I'm Laurel of Laurel Creates, and today I want to talk to you about fibromyalgia and how bullet journaling has helped me with this experience and ways that maybe you can implement bullet journaling into your life to help you kind of figure out what are triggers and what causes more pain in your body. I don't know. I'm not an expert by any means. I was only recently diagnosed with fibromyalgia. I don't even know how long ago. A few months. Like, it hasn't been a year. I don't even think it's been like 6 months. But I've been reading, I've been doing an elimination diet, I've been doing all this stuff to, like, all the stuff that people will say, oh, if you just do this, you'll be fine. Well, that has not been the case. So I've come to accept that, well, I say accept. I'm trying to accept that this is where my body is, and I'm just going to be in pain. And that's a really hard thing to accept. If you are on a similar journey, whether it be with fibromyalgia or another chronic illness, I think this is a new, I want to say, like, series on my channel of talking about chronic illness and talking about the things that we can do to make our days better and to... Sorry, I'm distracted because my neighbor just pulled up and parked in a parking spot, and I'm very self-conscious about recording. So, yeah. If you have watched my recent setup videos, in my October video and in my November video, I don't think I did I do this in September? I did do it in September. I don't think I filmed it though. I think this is the first month that I made a symptom tracker, which, I mean, I can kind of show you right now. So this was my first kind of idea. I also just, like, did the moon phases over here because there was some empty space. Went with my space theme. There's this one. Even though maybe I should have done them in silver. Whatever. I'm getting off track. So I wanted to track my pain and my fatigue, and maybe this wasn't the first month. I might have done this for the first month in my old bullet journal. Let's look. Alright. Okie dokie. I'm very prepared to do this video, obviously. No, this is kind of on a whim and kind of off the seat of my pants, because I wanted to record. I got all set up and I was like, alright, now what are you recording? Did I make one in here? I did. Okay, so this was the first month that I did it. I also tried to do a weather tracker. I didn't even do the box. That's how committed I was. It's very sad. So I started off by tracking my pain, fatigue, stress, anxiety, depression, irritability, and soreness. And I tracked all of those in this graph. And each color corresponds to a different symptom, issue. don't know. And then I did another box where I tracked my migraines, headaches, numbness, nausea, dizziness, light sensitivity, jaw tightness, and then swelling, which I honestly am like, it's really hard for me to tell unless I just like happen to notice. Sometimes I'll look at my feet and I'll be like, why is my left foot bigger than my right foot? And then I'm like, oh, because it's swollen. But it's not something that I really notice. I'm not like looking for it all the time. And part of that goes into like body checking. But that's a whole different thing. So that was my first month. So that's why this one looks a little bit more organized. So I split up my pain and my fatigue into 2 different ones. I did a 0 through 5 scale. I ended up getting rid of the 0 in later months because it's never 0. And if it is, I'll just like go to the bottom line. And then I added in some symptoms, tracked those. I started tracking when I take my Adriene or when I take like medication. So I think that's really important. And then also I take Benadryl kind of as needed. So I wanted to track that as well. And then this was the month that I started my diet, I believe. So yeah, September 2nd was when I started my elimination diet. And I got this little okay. I went and got a blood test to test for food sensitivities because I was like, well, maybe some of my symptoms are being exacerbated by food. So maybe if I just like stop eating those foods, I'll feel a lot better. Spoiler alert. Not really the case. I can go into a whole... I will do a whole video on my elimination diet, exactly how we did it, what kind of stuff I went through with my nutritionist, and all that. And I can talk about that. I am still doing it. So when I started it, I was like, this is going to be a 1-month thing. It wasn't a 1-month thing. And it's been really hard, but I'm not working right now. So it's been a lot easier because that's been like my job. Like I make a video a week for YouTube and I meal prep. And that's pretty much my life right now, which is, I sound like so ungrateful, I guess. But I am really grateful that I have a support system with which has allowed me to take this break from work and school and everything in order to try and get my health back on track. It's just really frustrating because I still feel really crappy. So it's not that I'm not grateful that I don't have to work. It's that I'm really just mad. I'm mad at my body, you know? If you have a chronic illness, you know. So, anyways, bullet journaling. Tangents. Kind of one of my things. Alright, so, I mean, if you want to see, did I show this? This is, nope, I didn't finish that month. I did show this. Okay, this is my whole month filled out. So, my key for this is severe is a full box. Moderate is a half box filled in, like diagonal. Mild is a dot. A blank space is a none. And then I put an X as like a didn't track. But really, if I didn't track, I just leave it blank. So, I should probably change that key. It's time to feed the cats. I don't know if you heard that, but I'll be right back. All right. So, after a few months of doing my symptoms tracker in a, similar fashion, I did extend it a lot in October. So, it's now a whole 2-page spread. I didn't fill out the whole last week of October. It was a hard week. So anyways, this month, I included activity and energy in my habits tracker. Something else I always include in my habit tracker is my vitamins, because those are things that I should be taking daily. But I'm trying. And that's important for fibro. Just like medication is important if you're taking that. It's important to track, or at least know that you're doing it every day. And if you're someone that forgets things a lot and has a hard time thinking, did I take my vitamins yesterday? It's so much easier if you just check a box, and then sometimes it's so bad that I look at my journal and I'm like, is that right? Yeah. Bleep. It is. Sometimes I gaslight myself, is the moral of the story. It's so much easier if you have hard evidence. It's so hard to remember things, regardless of if you have fibro or not. We all think that our memory is way better than it is. It is not. Don't trust it. There's conflating messages there. Whatever. Okay. So, this month, I'm pretty happy with this spread. I'm interested to see how it works out. So far, it's been working good. I included different sections this time, so that I can easily look and find the symptom that I'm looking for. If I'm like, oh my gosh, this is really bad and I need to mark it down right now, it's important to mark it down right now. So it's important to be like, if I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so bloated, to be able to be like, okay, digestion, bloating, here it is, gotcha. I also added in this side section, which is brand new, which is the things that I've added. So food-wise. So I talk about my diet not really working, but then also I've had very definite reactions from food. So I don't know, I still feel like crap all the time, but food was definitely doing something to me, and I just couldn't pinpoint what was doing what. So I added this section where I write in, how many times have I said add in the last minute? Okay. So I'd write in if I tried a new food, so that I can see, okay, over the next few days, how am I feeling? Am I feeling worse? Is my stomach really hurting? What's the deal? So that's a new thing that I've added. I also haven't used this page yet. Still haven't erased the pencil lines on it, which trying to be professional over here. So this is my pacing page. This is an idea that I picked up from, I'm looking over at my book about fibromyalgia from the Mayo Clinic that was recently released. Let's grab it. All right. I've got a tissue as my bookmark. I haven't finished reading it. Classic. So, in the I don't know, probably managing symptoms goal part, talks about retraining your brain, getting regular physical activity, which yoga with Adriene. There's a scary noise. Okay. Yoga with Adriene. She is amazing. She has so many videos that are like soft and slow, and if you are trying to find a way to get more physical activity in your life and yoga is accessible for you, go check out Yoga with Adriene. I will link her below. She's amazing. She just did a video specifically for people with chronic pain. It was 25 minutes, but it did not feel like 25 minutes. It's very, like, she gives chair poses if you can't get on the ground. It was great. So I will link that below specifically, and then you should just watch all our videos and try and do a daily yoga practice with me. I try and do at least 10 minutes. At least. Alright. So, that's one of the things they talk about in here is yoga. They also talk about Tai Chi, which I think is interesting. Pilates. Here we go. Balance your time and energy. This is what I was talking about with pacing. Alright, so this is a really difficult concept for me. Hi, Alfie. You want to come up? Yeah. Pacing is doing as much on a good day as you do on a bad day. Excuse me. So this concept is difficult for me and something that I have not yet been able to implement, because what I do and what I have done and my way of coping with this illness before I knew that it was what I had was do as much as I possibly can when I feel not terrible. Which lends itself to having really, really bad days where I cannot do anything because I'm so tired, I'm in so much pain that I don't do anything. And, you know, when it was like school and work, it was like I put all my energy into school. I put all my energy into work. And then I have nothing left to give. Except for random days where I felt good enough to hang out with friends and you know, I would force myself to do things when I didn't feel well, which is partly good, partly bad, because then you're just making yourself feel worse, but also you need to have some level of this pacing. So what they bring up in this is that you kind of have to decide daily what mix of activities you're going to be able to do. So what I've done is I've made a page where I'm going to list activities, and then I'm going to give them a rating of high, medium, or low. So then I have to figure out, okay, maybe it's one high difficulty activity a day, or maybe it's every other day. I don't know. And what is high? Is it doing all the trash? Is it cleaning the whole house? Cleaning the whole house isn't acceptable because it needs to be like specific activities. So is it vacuuming? I don't know. And then how often do these things need to get done? And then how can I basically formulate my life to scheduling myself the perfect amount for every day? It seems like a huge task, which is why I haven't really started it yet. But doing yoga every day, it doesn't have to be a 30-minute yoga. It can be a 5-minute yoga. I can literally just sit on the floor and do a few poses. Now that I've watched enough videos, I'm like, all right, I really, I have a lot of pain in my neck, so I'm going to do this for 5 minutes. And then I can go to bed and knowing that I did my yoga for the day. So balancing that time and energy is hard, and it's about taking breaks in between stuff as well, and knowing what replenishes you and what makes you feel good. It's hard when you've spent so much of your life just trying to ignore your body or control your body, and now I have to make a partnership with my body and be like, all right, what makes you feel good? What makes you feel bad? And trying to get myself in that mindset of working together instead of just pushing until my body's like, nope, you absolutely cannot do this anymore. So that's where I'm at. Too much information? Maybe. Bye, Alfie. He's going to sit in his own chair. So for me, I know I have to set up a weekly. I've tried to be flexible and be like, I'm just gonna journal every morning and I'm going to make a list and I'm gonna decorate the day. No, I'm not. And that's fine. So I need a little bit more structure. So you saw this setup. If you watched my November setup, I set up my first 10 days. And then I'm going to spend 30 minutes setting up the next week. And doing that makes my life so much easier. Having this data that I can look back on and be like, looks like my pain was lower the 12th through the 15th of October. That's interesting data to have. And then being like, oh, wow. Yeah. Like, I have, I have insomnia more than I realized. I just thought, sometimes I just can't fall asleep. But when you have it all in front of you and you have a month's worth of being like, oh, okay, so what are the patterns? And what can I do? Do I like ramp up and feel good for these few days, and then I do so much during those few days that I feel really bad for the next week? Or what is affecting what here? And I think that can be so helpful. At least it has been for me. Because it also makes me look at it and be like, no, I'm not crazy. Like, this is happening. The whole way that I got diagnosed with fibromyalgia was because I started bullet journaling. I did a habit tracker for my May bullet journal. I think this was my first video. The sun one. I was taking an astronomy class and we were talking about the sun and looking at so many cool pictures of the sun. So inspired. Anyways, not what I'm talking about. Okay, so I had gone into the doctor and been like, I am so tired. Like, I am tired all the time. I'm falling asleep with my phone in my hand to turn off my alarm. Like, falling asleep like this with my phone in my hand. And it's like, I'm so tired. And my doctor was like, all right, let's do some tests. So they did some tests. The only thing that was really, the words are so hard. Basically, the only thing shown from that was that I had low vitamin D. They took like 4 vials of my blood. And so I was like, no, this doesn't seem right. So I started Googling, like you do. And I was like, I don't even know what my symptoms are. So, thanks to a friend of mine, she was like, you need to write them down. She's like, start writing it down. I was like, what's this for? If it's not for this. Before this, I had been using my journal mostly as a planner. And it was May of this year that I was like, no, I'm going to start tracking other stuff. I'm going to start doing like the whole Bujo thing. I'm going to go for it. And I'm going to start making videos because I want to make videos. So I started writing everything down. And I took that list to my doctor. It's a long list. I ended up actually transferring it to a notebook page style paper. And I took that to him and I was like, this is everything that I've been dealing with for the past, however many days it was. I don't remember at this point. And he looked it over and he was like, you've got neurological symptoms, you've got like digestive problems, you've got widespread pain, you need to go to a rheumatologist. So I made an appointment to go to a rheumatologist. He gave me a referral, and she basically looked over the list, talked to me about my symptoms, listened to me for a while, and was like, yeah, you have fibromyalgia. She's like, I don't think it would be worth doing extra tests. I think that you have this for sure. And she talked to me about all the options for medication, which I'm not on right now because I don't have healthcare, but it's open enrollment. So if you don't have healthcare, join me in, I'm not going to do a video about it because like how awfully boring would that be? But we can go get healthcare together in spirit, not in video format. I don't think that I would have gotten diagnosed so easily if I hadn't written things down. If you're working with a doctor, write stuff down. Bring it to your doctor. Be like, these are the symptoms that are messing me up. How can we treat these? Like, how can you help me manage these? And if you do that, and do the work to, do all the stuff that you're supposed to do, like moderate but not too hard exercise. You see that I'm sassy. I get pretty sassy about it. But my hope, at least, is that if I do all that stuff, find a doctor who's willing to work with me, that I'll be able to manage this illness. And I will be able to live life and be a productive human being. And this is my story, and this is no judgment on anybody else. I want to make that really clear, because this disease, illness, I don't know. Is there a difference? I don't know. There is such a spectrum to fibromyalgia, and while I definitely struggle, it's probably, I know other people have it worse. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. I want to make more stuff, so stick around, subscribe, like, do all the things, and let's talk in the comments below. One final thing, because that was going to be the end, but don't give people unsolicited advice, including me, including anybody else in the comments. If someone asks for advice, you're welcome to give. I do not want advice. I would love to chat with you about your experience, even things like what worked for you, what didn't work for you. I don't like getting told what to do unless I'm asking for it, and I'm not. So keep that in mind when you're chatting with people, especially about chronic illness, because we get a lot of it and it can be really frustrating. So that's my final thought. Final thoughts. This is my weird self. I guess you're welcome, and goodbye. Bye. That you need, you can't take it from me.